everybody. I was thinking about like that saying. I think it goes like that we are all the combination of like the five people closest to us. Is it like the five or the six closest people to us? And I'm like wondering what that looks like because I don't feel like I have anybody at all that I'm close to. Like I'm not close to anybody. I don't know if this is normal. It feels like it should be abnormal, but I feel like also that it's probably pretty normal. I just don't know. But 2025, I've said it in other videos, like it's been like a cluster F. Last year was a lot of growth, a lot of amazing things happened and epiphanies, but I've kind of alluded to it in my other videos. Like it's my whole life has felt like a tower moment in tarot. Um, and I've been really kind of at the end of the day working on embracing that, like out with the old and with the new. And I guess that's what the tower is. It's like, it's going to crumble down because it has to, because this isn't like for your best interest. So, what can you do but go with it? So that's kind of what 2025 has been. And I feel all the optimism of this year because I can see the trajectory of it. It gets down because it has just been so stressful. Like my past has, I don't know. It's like everything's come crashing down, but at the same time, I know why. These are things that aren't in my best interest. It's like if you're driving a shitty car that you bought 5 years ago and it was the only thing you could get was like this clunker of a vehicle and it's gotten you from point A to point B for some time now and it served its purpose, but you're driving down the road and then all of a sudden you just like have to pull over and it just like dies and you're on the side of the road. Well, like that's my life. But at the same time, it could have been a lot worse. No one was injured. And now I know, hey, I can't drive around this clunker anymore because it's not dangerous and I can do better. My life is me saying I can do better. There's Mazzy again. And I'm wearing like my cat shirt. This is one of my favorite shirts because it's got this cool kitty on it. Oh man, he's messing up my fancy background. It's got this cool cat on it. It's pink. It's a sweatshirt. It's super comfortable. But yeah, so like a lot of things have been coming down. They're legal processes, so it's been involved. I've had threats against my life made by my literally psychopathic ex, like open threats out of nowhere on social media. And people say, oh, that's a crime or whatever. Yeah, it is. But, I just have to trust that it's all going to need to work out. And that's the point. A lot of things are coming to an end. A lot of things are changing. And a lot of things need to change. I was an addict for the better part of 13 years of adulthood. From age 21 to 34, I was a really hardcore addict. A lot of mental health issues, a lot of soul issues, a lot of lessons that were learned in very hard ways. And I'm so grateful every day that I made it out through there. I started my sobriety journey in 2018. 9 months later, I was able to fully commit to sobriety and not without relapses or being kind of on the fence about certain states of being, fully committed to it. And I have been fully sober since 2019. And in 2020, I had a spiritual awakening. I started a meditation practice. I started writing. I found my soul's purpose outlet, a calling, a way for me to express like my truth, my soul, all that good stuff. I started meditating. I started doing Hawaiian healing modality, Ho'oponopono, Dr. Ai Kaliakala, and they said to do it for at least 3 weeks. In 3 weeks, I had this beautiful epiphany. I could see out of my third eye, like truly, like in a literal sense. It was cool. It was beautiful. Then it's like I kind of began to see the matrix because I began to see myself with some kind of truth. I feel like some authenticity. And I saw like, hey, The me when I was freaking 4 years old in pre-K, my first time like going out in the world, was really like my first time going to school. Besides that, of course, I've been like to the state fair, I've been to church with my parents, but I don't even have a lot of memories from before four. I have all of my big memories like from preschool age four, and um I just was so self-aware. I wish I could just go back and give myself a hug. I was so self-conscious. I was truly in an existential crisis at age four. I was neurotic. I just knew something was off. Raised Catholic. This was in the early 90s, coming of age, became a teenager in the late 90s, early 2000s. Like, I became 18 plus, a young adult in the early 2000s. It wasn't a great time for females or just really humans in general. It was like the Victoria's Secret bombshell and this and that. And just all of it, man. Like, celebrities, I thought of them as like, they weren't humans. They were like gods. I had a truly obsessive, borderline, like super literally unhealthy crush on Angelina Jolie. That was weird. I had a lot of questions with the church. And that's, forbidden with my experience in the Catholic Church. And now in 2020, when I had that spiritual awakening, I could see the Matrix. Oh, I could see myself. And because I could see myself, really, I began to see my place in this construct. It's an organic matrix. I don't think it's inorganic, but yeah. And I was like, wow, I wasn't the problem. However, my own problematic reactions were the problem. But let's go back further. Bottom line, I wasn't the problem. I could see I had what turns out was an incredibly healthy, um, wise, well beyond my years. Like I said, age four, I was like, something feels off here. An incredibly, I think, healthy reaction to an incredibly unhealthy system. And I was told I was crazy. I was thinking too much, to quit my belly aching, basically. I was just shut down, as we are. And it's not a female thing. It's not a racial thing. It's a humanity thing. And, I've talked a lot about we're kind of like programmed to be like these worker bees, but you know what? No, we're not, because other animals, they don't. What other animal is told to just fucking get on this pipeline? You can be a teacher or you can be a nurse. You can be some variation of those two. If you're in a small town, that's it. That once again, that's part of the lie that we were taught. It's part of the nostalgia trap of like glamorizing the past. And now we have to look at the 2010s like as the peak of nostalgia. Why? Because there were leggings. Real question, is that why? Because there were leggings, because there were layered tops. I still layer my tops. I love it. I have on a layered top now. I have on like a little gray spaghetti string cami underneath my beautiful pink sweatshirt. But my cat's going haywire here. But it's just like the stuff, and it's like it's all nostalgic. But think about this: if you want something really terrifying, think about this. At some point in time, right the F now, 2025, 2026 is going to be the past. And if we are going to look back, as we always do with every part of the past, and be like, oh, those were the good old days, if we had only known. If we are going to look back on 2026, January of 2026, and say that these were the good old days, then what the hell do we have to look forward to? And let's flip it and reverse it, look at it from the other angle. What can we do right now to actually like be happy and be grateful and be appreciative? And so if we are a combination of the five people, the handful of people that we are closest to, what if you don't have people that you're closest to? I have friends. I have friends literally, and I also have friends in theory. I have two really great like female friends that I've had for years, and we talk once a year on holidays, and we oftentimes talk like through text. I don't talk to friends. I don't go out. I don't have a social life. My hobbies, walking the dog, pondering with this like philosophical, dirty poet's heart, writing. These are all like solo practices. Thank God I have them. Literally, thank God I have these expressions that help me keep some semblance of sanity, if you call it that. But still, it's not a group activity. I don't, I'm not involved in like, sporting activities at like the YMCA or whatever. I see these guys that do, and there's females too. There are a few females, but I've gotten the impression that they are just like the girlfriends and spouses or whatever of like the guys there. But they're guys that do kind of like a frisbee, an ultimate frisbee competition, and it's gotten kind of big in the area. And I'm kind of jealous of that. I've always been jealous that guys have that thing. They have that camaraderie in sports, even like the wacky sports. It's still super cool. They listen to Alice in Chains a lot of times, like awesome music, love it. But I don't have people that I am the closest of. So what does that mean? And now, as it turns out, I don't even have a partner. I have an ex, and it's a cluster mess, and I have a current ex going through it, and it's a cluster of it's a mess. So bottom line, hopefully a little bit of optimism that I'm trying to give myself that maybe somebody else can get to. If you're like that too, if you don't have friends or a partner or really anyone other than yourself that you can like rely on, maybe that means that at this moment in time that I am meant to just fulfill myself, be myself, do what I want to do, and make those parameters and those labels for myself, and have them not really be labels, because that's kind of an icky word as it turns out. But maybe I set those rules, and once I'm done doing that and really like the towers have fallen, maybe then I'll like find my tribe or whatever. But maybe it's not time, because I have to do some more like filling in the blanks of my own like heart and soul. So y'all have a good night. Stay warm.